My name is Emily Carter. I am 30 years old and I live in Madison, Wisconsin. For as long as I can remember, my home was not a sanctuary but a battlefield, ruled by my father's controlling, cruel hand. He was a man consumed by his own ego, a narcissist who destroyed the lives of everyone around him with his endless demands and hurtful words. Living with him was like walking on shattered glass every single day. He screamed at my uncle over petty things, things that my dad himself had caused and forgotten, then tried to kick him out of the house as if he were the owner of the world. When my mother cooked meals he did not like, he tore her down without mercy. When she watched TV shows he disapproved of, he belittled her as though her preferences were insignificant. He banned us from doing things we cherished, my mom teaching Sunday school, me writing stories, and even my uncle trying to get enough rest. Worse, he thought it was acceptable to ignore people's boundaries, often flirting with women decades younger than him, excusing his actions with a smug, "That is just me." Because of this, I never even dared to have friends over to sleep. For company, he put on a nice mask, but the moment guests left, his fury returned, threatening to throw us out of the house if we crossed his invisible rules. Substance abuse only fueled his rages, making every day heavier and darker. Growing up in that oppressive atmosphere felt like drowning while trying to breathe. I begged my mother to leave him starting when I was 12. I confided in counselors at school, hoping for a way out, but without physical abuse and barely any money, every door for escape slammed shut. So I learned to live with it, clinging to one mission, to stop him from hurting anyone else. By 18, the damage was setting in. Anxiety and depression gnawed at me, but I refused to break. I built a network, a patchwork of friends, doctors, and therapists who helped me see that my father's cruelty was not my fault. Slowly, I tried to control what little I could, realizing that sometimes control meant just surviving. I documented everything, recording his outbursts and illegal drug use. I collected time-stamped messages to friends, proof for when the moment came I could no longer stay silent. My uncle, who for years had played my father's reluctant servant, passed away in 2023. The responsibility he left behind fell to me, a role I despised but accepted because it gave me a closer look at the chaos and more reason to keep my guard up. Then in January of this year, things exploded. My dog was barking while my dad tried to sleep, and I was at a friend's barbecue. I heard later that in a furious rage, he stabbed my mother's door with a knife, fully uncaring if someone else stood behind it. The police charged him with criminal damage, yet somehow, he was allowed back in the house. 3 weeks later, after a heated argument between us, I knew my safety was in real danger. I packed my bags with my dog and couch surfed between my two best friends, trying to breathe for the first time in years. Through a lawyer representing my mother, I was listed as a victim, which opened the door for my evidence to be officially considered and for me to seek an order of protection. When that order came through, I was given exclusive use of the house and custody of my beloved dog. We had a hearing in April. After 2 months of no contact, I walked into the courtroom a different person. I dyed my hair, wore a new confident look, and carried myself as someone who no longer hid in fear. My father, desperate, tried to speak to me. A prosecutor had to stop him from making contact as I held my gaze on the state seal, ignoring him completely. I was moved from the courtroom because of the tension, but did you know he could still see me? He tried to look past his own lawyer to find me, but she reported his behavior to the judge, calling it creepy and unsettling. That moment, watching him fail to intimidate me while the court recognized his menace, was one of the sweetest victories of my life. When I finally spoke to the judge, my voice shook but my eyes never wavered. I told my story, every painful detail, with my father standing just feet away. I did not cry, I did not break. I gave him back the look he so often denied me. The judge sentenced him to an extra week in jail and ordered a 9-month stay in rehab for him. Maybe someday he will change, but after all these years, I do not count on it. And you know what? I do not miss him one bit. Every day now I wake up in a peaceful home. My dog is happy, my mother smiles again, and I am safe at last. Not all revenge stories end calmly, but mine does. To anyone stuck in a home like the one I lived in, fighting anxiety and depression and desperate for change, this is your sign. Do not give up. It will take longer than you want, and it will be harder than you think, but the peace waiting on the other side is worth every painful step. Hold on, your freedom is coming.